Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello, Paul the Rev Meyenberg. That's my boy. I've been speaking to him on the phone.
You know who my boy is?
Who? Mike?
Mikey Cologne.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hello.
He's everybody's boy. He's
And he got a haircut too. I yelled at him
did.
last week or 2 weeks ago.
I did.
He was looking a little unkept. You know
My barber was on vacation. So.
Gonzo's
back now.
down in some other cruise. I've never seen a guy take more cruises than Gonzo, for crying out loud.
I don't know. He's a little tight on cash too. I don't know how that's working out.
I don't know.
That's that
what's
Chiefs
going
money, baby.
Maybe
Chiefs
he's
money.
taking those, those cruises, with the
Well,
pineapple.
he's doing a lot of FEMA stuff, so you know how to
Oh,
FEMA
he's getting
guys
the
work.
FEMA cash. Right.
You know
I
how that
gotcha.
works.
Anyway, Paul
Same money.
Meyenberg got me this guy. He's only got 50 years in the fire service, bro. Did two totally different careers, one in Dallas, one in Wichita Falls, Texas. Right? Did I get that right this time? I did.
Wichita Falls, same thing.
Yeah, Wichita, whatever. Yeah, because I said it. He said, "This ain't Kansas." So this man's
It's Iowa, baby.
Iowa. Who the hell goes to Iowa?
Hawkeyes, baby.
Hawkeyes.
Home of Slipknot. So.
Wasn't he in MASH? Hawkeye, that guy? No.
No, Ottumwa was Radar was from Ottumwa, Iowa.
Oh, I gotcha.
Get with it, would you please?
All right. I'm sorry. Anywho, Mike's filling in today. I'm gonna go easy on him on the membership, bro. Just let you know that the Rescue second part, has dropped in the membership. So if you want to go see the second part of Rescue, how many views we got on the first part, Ruffy?
Around 35 or something right away.
Yep, really? Wow, we got a lot of views. So if you liked it,
Oh, how many views? Oh, yeah. It was probably like the first one, like 14,000 in less than a week.
that means a lot of guys liked it. So go over and check out part 2. Mike,
How many parts are there, Mikey?
I think it's 3, right?
There should be 4. We got, probably 3 because the next one is covering 1970 to 1980.
Right.
So we
And
still got to
that
do
is
the
80 to
90s, the
90.
modern days. Yeah.
Listen, I'm like Coobs, who's up here, calling you cheapskates or anything. But it's $4.95 or something, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You know what I
Falls
mean?
out of your pocket. You don't even know what's missing for crying out loud. I mean, right?
Just do it.
Which, yeah.
I mean,
the
you go buy
guys.
those bagels. The guy shortchanged $5.
It helps. Put it this way: it ain't going in Coob's pocket. It ain't going in my pocket. And I got some pretty good pockets. It's going in Cologne's pocket
That's
and
it.
Gonzo's pocket.
And I'm broke. So I can use
He
the
ain't
money.
got no money.
Right. Don't
So
forget
spend
ties.
a few bucks.
We all know
I live in an
Rufano.
attic. So
We all-
it helps a lot.
We all know
Look at my setup.
Better
the
in the
Wolf of
basement.
Warwick doesn't need it, bro. That's for sure, right?
Yeah, I'm
Wolf
up here.
of Warwick.
I'm gonna be over here begging you for $5. I think not.
Spare change, ma'am.
Good for you. All right, Mike, play the commercial while you're at it. Let them see what
All
they
right.
get.
Who do we have tonight? Who of our friends tonight?
Well, first, we got the membership, Ed.
All right, let me find the membership because I hate StreamYard's new layout. So let's see.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, stand by, folks, as we find the membership here. In the meantime, you know what? Before we get to the membership, I'm going to find FRCE if we can, or excuse me,
Oh,
New
we're gonna do
Jersey
that
Fire.
last.
New Jersey Fire.
Yeah.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey Fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard foam, Alkalite and Duo safety ladders, BA face shield protectors, Truckman's Choice saws, Grove's gear racks and washer dryers, Supervac fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Now we got the the membership video featuring Hashtag, by the way. And here it is. Looking to take your love for the fire service to the next level? Then join the Gettin Salty Experience YouTube Premium Membership Club, where the stories burn hotter and the history runs deeper. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, from History with Hashtag, where you dive into legendary FDNY fires and the men who fought them, to feature-length documentaries spotlighting the rich and gritty history of the FDNY, told the way only Gettin Salty can. You'll also get early access to special interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and members-only perks designed with our most loyal followers in mind. Joining is easy. Just hit that join button right in our YouTube channel and become part of the Brotherhood. Support the show, celebrate the job, get and stay salty.
And one more. We got Armor Tough Tic Tactile.
Armor Tough indeed. Here we are. Need a new floor for your fire station? Choose an Armor Tough interlocking flooring system to cover your aging, stained, cracked concrete or epoxy floor. Around for nearly 20 years and proven to be the best choice in renovating your station floors, covering nearly 600 floors across the country, Armor Tough is proudly made in America and comes with a lifetime warranty, with floors that are usually installed in 1 or 2 days, depending on the size of your station, and no disruption in the process to your station's operations. Our system is guaranteed from chipping, cracking, peeling, breaking, or staining. The tiles are stain resistant and impervious to chemicals or volatiles that are used in the fire service. If you damage one tile, you can lift and replace without anyone knowing. And once it's installed, your floor would be easy to clean with just soap and water. It's not only for apparatus rooms. You can install an Armor Tough floor in virtually any room and choose from the hundreds of colors from the Designer Series, or, if you like, from the Utility Series floor coverings. Are you in need of gear racks, an extractor, or gear dryers? Install an Armor Tough floor in your apparatus bay and take full advantage of a deep discount, saving you thousands of dollars on any of the Grove products line. Why install a breakable epoxy floor that'll need replacing in 5 to 10 years when you could have a floor that will last a lifetime? The Armor Tough flooring system is half the price of epoxy and will last a lifetime without issue, more importantly. Join the hundreds of career and volunteer departments nationwide who have chosen an Armor Tough interlocking tile floor. Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
Wow, man, those voices sound familiar. Like they're all the same. Like guys do that. It's amazing. Give a shout out also to Paul Meinberg. He's at Station 3 watching this with all the boys from Station 3. Hoorah! Do it.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you, my friend.
All right, Ruffy.
You ready?
Thing, bro. Bring him in. Bring the guy in. It's been waiting long enough.
You know what they say about Texas, right?
Oh,
I stayed.
Yes.
quite a few things, right?
I don't see no horns on you, boy. All right.
Yeah.
So we don't have the sound effects, right? So we're gonna have to do a little.
We'll make our own sound effects.
All right, you ready?
Ad-lib.
Coming to the stage, Deputy Chief Ronnie James.
Woo! Whoop, 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 whoop.
Mike, what happened?
Mike, no,
I don't have the sound effects. I need the soundboard that Gonzo has. He's already
What's
got
up,
one.
Chief? How are you?
Chief, how are
I'm
you?
doing good. How are you doing?
We're doing
Hanging
good.
in there. We're ready to go.
What do they say about
Remember, you need to talk slow so I can understand you.
What do you say? Let's New Yorkers talk fast? Is that what
Oh,
you say?
no, I wouldn't say that at all.
I'll give you a
All
little of my southern drawl. I'll talk a little
Okay.
All right.
slower, y'all.
I can understand that.
I see
I'll
that.
slow
Let's
it
get
down, Chief.
patriotic before we dive into the Chiefs' career, which goes back way back before most of you guys were even born.
All right, sure thing. Let's hit it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Excellent. Beautiful. Somebody said the chief looks like a salty firefighter. He is a salty guy. Of course he is. We only get the saltiest here on Getting Salty.
That's right.
Let me see. All right, I got his timeline up too.
You got it?
Yeah.
He goes back. It's pretty expensive. You got that? All right, let's go back. We got to get in the Wayback Machine, Mike. Crank up the Wayback Machine with the chief right here. We're going back to the 60s, early 60s, right? Tell us a little about where you were born, your family life. What made you want to be a fireman way back in the 60s?
I was born in Wellsville, Ohio,
What?
which is a little town on the Ohio River, about 30 miles west of Pittsburgh. My dad was in the military, and he was in Fort Meade, Maryland when I was born. And he ended up going to North Africa, getting captured at Kasserine Pass, and he spent 27 months in POW camps
Holy
until the
moly.
war was over. When he got back, of course, I don't remember this too well, but when he got back, he suffered from PTSD. Ended up, him and my mom got a divorce. And so I moved a lot between Ohio and Texas. I lived up there, went to grade school, moved to Dallas with my mom in 1952, went to part of grade school and junior high. Then I moved back to Ohio and went to high school. My dad had already paid all my tuition at Ohio University. I had a scholarship. I was going to University of Ohio, not OU, and going to the one in Athens. I came down for the summer with my mom and decided to stay. I went to East Texas State University. I majored in fraternity, which did not get me very good grades.
I've never heard that one before.
That's good.
After one semester, my mom decided she didn't want to spend any more money. So I went out to get a real job. And in between 1960 and 1964, I probably had 6 or 8 jobs. I went from one thing to another, had no idea what I wanted. My dad told me he could get me in the FBI Academy and he wanted me to be a cop like him. So anyway, I finally ended up with a job at Mack Truck as a mechanic. And they
That's why I said
started,
Mac.
yeah, Mack. And they started laying off half days. So this guy I was working with, he said, I'm going to go down and take the civil service test be a policeman. Why don't you come with me? And I said, well, hell no. I don't want to be a cop. And he said, well, they're giving it for firemen too. So I said, okay.
That's
so we go down and take the civil service test. He failed it and I passed it. So I ended up getting hired on the Dallas Fire Department in 1964.
Wow. What was the starting pay? Do you remember?
I remember exactly. It's not near as much as they make in one shift now. My starting pay was $370 a month.
Oh,
$370 a month.
When I made $400 a month, I went out and bought me a new car.
Wow.
Hey, Chief, you know what? That's a common, not always, but that's a common thing where just by chance a guy says to you, hey, listen, I'm going down over here. You want to take a ride with me or whatever, fill out the form. And next thing you know, 50 years, you're in the fire service or whatever. Yeah. And it's just crazy.
We've heard it before that the other guy don't make it either. Yeah. We've heard that a ton of times too.
Yeah.
My friend took me, he didn't make it. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah. We had to go to 6 months of rookie school. And that was 6 long, miserable months. In Texas, I started in April, so I got to go through the whole summer.
Wow.
In firefighting gear. And there was one day, it sort of leads up to something that's coming later. I get to work out there, get to rookie school, and they've got a 40-foot trailer backed up. And instructor said, you need to start loading this trailer. We loaded ladders and hose and nozzles, and we practically filled this truck up. And I said, where is this going? And he says, going to Texas A&M University to the fire school. And I said, what fire school? He said, I don't know. They just got a big fire school down there. Well, I found out a lot later exactly what that was, but the the time in rookie school, I was glad to get out. And when I got out, my first day driving to the fire station, there had been a fire in Dallas a little before that, and 4 firefighters got killed.
Oh my God.
There was a wreck between a police car and a 100-foot aerial, killed a cop and a fireman. So I've already got this in the back of my mind. I'm driving to work and I hear the radio report that they had 6 firemen got killed in the Bronx falling through a roof. And I thought to myself, what the hell are you doing here? There's got to be something else you can do.
I could have been a mechanic.
It was absolutely the greatest career I could ever hope for.
Well, you stayed 50 years. I'm sure it must have been.
Yeah, it was a great time. I left when I got out of rookie school. I went to Oak Cliff. If you're familiar with Dallas, when you cross the Trinity River, you go into it used to be a town until 1903. Anyway, I went to a fire station out there, and that was my rookie station. And I don't know if y'all remember. Do you remember the all-service masks, the canisters? Okay, all your firefighting coats had a pocket sewed on it, and you would put this canister in it, and it had a hose looked like Spider-Man eyes. And the way this thing worked is you had to make sure you tore the tape off the bottom. Is when you breathe in the hot air, and the idea was it converted carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide. Well, it heated the air up, so we already got hot air, and it heated it up, and it didn't work if the oxygen content in the room was below 15. Well, in a fire, it's below 15, so they didn't work. So nobody ever wore them, and we only had 2 15-minute cubs on an engine riding 5 people. And I got to the station, and the captain told me, you ain't getting one of these cubs, which didn't make any difference because by the time you got into the fire, you ran out of air anyway.
Yeah.
He said, here's all you need. And he got a sponge, at least it was a new sponge, and he cut a corner off of it, and he said, we have a fire, you just wet this down, throw it in your mouth, boy, that's all you need. And that's basically all I used for the first year or two I worked.
Wow,
That was my breathing apparatus.
What was it like going into the firehouse the first day for somebody who had no idea about the fire department?
Well, my first fire was worth remembering. When we were in rookie school, we had an old Howe engine, and the back step was only about a foot and a half off the ground. When I got to 23, we had a different engine, and they gave us a car fire, and we went to the fire. Well, what they didn't tell us is the car was in a garage, and the house and the garage is on fire. Well, the captain told me to pull a big booster. In Dallas, a big booster is 1.5 inch pre-connect. So I pulled it off, and when I'm falling backwards with the hose load, the ground's not there. I expected to put my foot on the ground, and I was way too high. And I pulled, and I ended up pulling that entire hose load on top of me. And I got the captain screaming at me. And we finally got it. That was my first real action. And I have to say, I had a young man named Jimmy Hatcher, who was a great teacher. He was a young guy, and he taught me a whole lot about firefighting. He had just come from South Dallas, and we fought a lot of fires together. But when I got a year on, I decided I wanted to go downtown. I wanted to go where the big fires were. So I made a request to go downtown, and they did. They transferred me to Station 1. Went down there on the A shift as just a firefighter. And at that station, we had 11, 12, 13, 14 people assigned that station. So it was a pretty good sized station. And at that time, it's not like New York. We didn't have that many people. but we rode 6 on trucks and 5 on the engine.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and that didn't last long, but that's what we did then. And I worked there for a couple months, and they gave an exam for a rank called second driver, and I don't even know if Dallas still has that rank, but it was a rank that if the driver was off, then you would move up and drive. Now they didn't pay you any more money, but you moved up to drive, and the promotional system in Dallas was based as much on seniority and efficiency grade as it was test score. So they was getting ready to give the second driver's exam, and the test before that, and I don't remember what rank it was, but a bunch of people complained because the test was too easy, that the new guys didn't have a chance. So the Civil Service Board in Dallas taught them a lesson. They had 250 people take the exam and only 4 passed. And the only reason I was
Want
one
it
of
harder?
the
I'll
4,
make it harder.
the only reson I was one of the 4
Come
was
on,
my
nice.
major in college was chemistry, and they took the NFPA handbook was one of our sources. Half of the questions came out of the section on the chemistry of fire. And so I aced all of that, and I made second driver. So that's how I got to be a second driver. And when I did, they just moved me from the A shift to the C shift, and I was second Tillerman. So we had 200-foot aerials downtown. Well, we had all of them 100-foot aerials, but we had 2 of them that were tractor trailer. And so I was certified as a Tillerman, which worked out not to be so good. When I made driver, I got transferred to 47 Fire Station, which did absolutely nothing because I was a Tillerman, and I'm screaming to go back downtown. So they finally, I got my transfer, and I went back to, I got back to Station 1 on the C shift. So I made full circle and did it way too fast. I wasn't that good a driver, and the lieutenant exam was coming up, and I sure wasn't good enough to make a lieutenant. But I took the test anyway. You had to have 5 years, and I had 5 years and a month, and I made lieutenant. And I pulled probably one of the dumbest things I've done in a long time. What they do in Dallas, or what they did then, is they would mail you your bars, your lieutenant's bars, to fire department mail. And then when they had several promotions, they would have the chief shake hands with everybody at one time. So I got my bars in the mail. And I need to tell you, there was a guy named Chief Fletcher, Lewis Fletcher. This guy was a B-25 bomber pilot in World War II, and he was salty. He was a salty, really, really good leader. Well, I was standing in my locker. The smart thing to have done was to take my clothes and go home. But no, I wanted to put my bars on my shirt. So I'm standing there pinning the bars on my collar of my shirt, and my locker was just right across the hall from his office. And he opened his door and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm putting my lieutenant's bars on." He said, "Get in here." And I thought, "Oh my God, I'm going to get my ass eat out, and I haven't even made lieutenant yet." So I go in and he said, "Sit down." He said, "I need to tell you something. You are as stupid today as you were yesterday." He said, "The only difference is you've now got the power to show everybody just how stupid you are." He said, "Your IQ did not go up a single point."
This is
He
true.
said, "I want you to remember
That's
that
good.
if you're going to be an officer, I want you to remember 3 things. You be fair, you be firm, and you be consistent." I took
Consistency.
that, and that basically guided me for the rest of my career. Be humble, be fair, be firm, and be consistent. I read, I don't know how many fire management books. Every one of them you could have condensed down to that. Be
Right.
fair, be firm, be consistent, and be humble.
Yeah.
So
That's his old school tip of the day, right
I
there.
know he
man.
kind of.
That's it.
I was going to tell him if he
Bam!
didn't have one, he could use that one again later. 'cause
That's a great one.
That's
yeah,
that's
that, and
perfect.
that I guarantee you, I can't tell you how many times I've
Still
thought
works
about
today,
that.
Chief. Guarantee it
Yeah,
still works today.
yeah,
Oh, your
yeah.
granddaughter's in the. Your granddaughter's watching, or is that your grandson? Granddaughter, grandson. Temple. Oh, Temple FD.
Temple VFD.
Oh,
Nice.
that's my that'd be my grandson.
Hmm.
Yeah, he works offshore and he's home from
Nice.
work. So anyway,
Hold on, Chief. I wanted to ask you a quick question.
sure.
What type of at this time in the '60s was Dallas similar to what was going on in like the biggest cities like in New York and Boston, and like everything was really crappy and you going to a lot of fires? Was it similar to that, or did you have a lot of
Well,
vacants?
Dallas is a unique city. Back in the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, Dallas wanted to be a metropolitan city. I think at that time they were like the 8th largest city in the United States, around 1 million. And they wanted so bad to lose that Texas country reputation and be metropolitan. And the fire department was a part of it. So when they started having all the trouble, especially out in LA, Dallas came out with a plan called Operations in Civil Disobedience, which was a stupid term to start with, but that's what they called it. And the big plan was that anytime we had a civil disobedience, basically a riot, that we would go in a task force of 2 engines, a truck, and 8 policemen.
Yeah.
And that was going to be our response. Okay. So we practiced it, and sure enough, one day they had a guy that grabbed a little girl off the street, took her in the house and held her hostage. They shot tear gas in the house, and when he came out, they plugged him. They shot him. Well, when they did, that night the riot started.
Nice.
So our fire station filled up with cops. I hadn't seen that many cops. They called us on the mainline telephone. The fire department phone said, "We're not doing the new plan. If you have a fire, turn your lights off and sneak in and put the fire out and then sneak out." And I said, "Hell, I can't sneak. I'm driving the engine at that time." I said, "How do you sneak a big red fire engine into a place of people that want to shoot you?" So anyway, that lasted all night long. They set fires. The thing that beat us, that helped us, is they made their Molotov cocktails out of Coke bottles, and a lot of them didn't break. So anyway, it went all night long, and they ended it. It stopped that night. The next day in the newspaper, it was in the back section on the 4th page, and it was 2 paragraphs.
Crazy.
That's all they did. Dallas did not want that kind of publicity, but it was a unique time.
Yeah, New York was obviously similar to that.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, we watched things going on in L.A. and Detroit and New York, and yeah, we did. We had nothing like that, and I'm glad.
Right. How many guys do you have on as a total then, Chief?
We had, I think the department at that time, when I started, was around 800. When I retired, it was 1,800. So we had Dallas just exploded.
Yeah.
Dallas,
Mikey, what is that now?
Let's see.
There's no telling. I'll give you an example of the size. When I was running EMS, we had 23 ambulances, and we made, the last year I was there, about 100,000 runs. Right now, they've got ambulances at every fire station.
Yeah.
Some of them 2 ambulances, and they go all the time. So there's no, I have no idea how many runs they make now, but it's a busy system.
How many
So,
runs were you doing on the engine when you were there? What would a normal night be?
well, an engine company, now you got to remember when I was on an engine, we didn't have first responder in Dallas.
Hmm.
So we didn't run on medical calls. So we would just run on car fires, structure fires, stuff like that. So we'd make maybe 7, 8, 9 runs a shift. Some shifts would have a couple multiple arm fires. But when they started running first responder, when they started running an engine with chest pains, unconscious person, major accident, the runs went up where engine companies were making 20 runs a shift.
Wow.
So
Louis loved that, right, Louis?
Yeah.
Louis loved when they did that. He loved going on those calls.
Yeah,
You won't get
yeah.
a call all day, but at like 12:40 at night, then it starts like in the morning, and then it all starts.
Yeah, when I was a captain at 33s, we had an ambulance running out of 33s, and they had runs all the time. And they'd open the speaker at the station and say 7:33, and they'd give them a run. Well, hell, you're awake now. So we finally told them, park out on the approach. You stay out there, sleep in the back. Don't come back in the station.
We're trying to rest up for the big fire.
Yeah.
So tell us when you went to the squad. We're up to the squad.
Okay, well,
Yeah, nice.
when I was a lieutenant, I went to Station 18, which was one of the worst fire stations in Dallas. They tore it down when they built Woodall Rogers Freeway. But you know how communications work in the fire department. AT&T is not as fast as listening to the rumor mill in a fire.
Yeah.
Well,
tell a phone, tell a friend, tell a fireman.
There you go. And we heard this rumor that they were going to put this new concept called a Manpower Squad. Well, nobody really knew what it was except they were going to have a lot of fires. So I called this friend of mine, who I thought was a friend,
The fixer.
who had influence on people that were going to be on that thing. So I called him and told him, hey, I'd like to transfer to that. And he said, no, you don't need to waste your time writing a request. They're only taking the elite.
Ooh.
Well, I went ahead and I sent a request in anyway. Transfer
Friends like that.
came out, and I was a lieutenant on it.
Nice.
I immediately picked up the phone and called him, and I said, if you would really like, and you study hard and apply yourself, maybe one of these days you'll be elite too. So, he never said anything else to me.
With friends
Anyway,
like that, who needs enemies, for God's sakes?
Yeah. I wrote it for 2 years, probably the most fun I've ever had in my career. We had a huge first alarm district, and we got the entire city of Dallas on second alarm. So we were going all the time, and it was so much fun. I learned so much about firefighting. It was a great experience. And I want to tell you one story on the squad because this has nothing to do with firefighting, but it was one of those, I'll never forget it. We were, the next shift, the driver and the second driver were both going to be off. So we was going to have a firefighter drive. And he said, Lou, do you mind if we go down around Fair Park? There's a couple streets I'd like to check out. I said, sure. So we load up, all 6 of us, in a Suburban. That's all we got is a Suburban with our firefighting gear and our Scots. So we go down, ride around, and we're heading back to the station. And one of the guys inside said, hey, stop here. I know these guys. And it was 2 guys that owned a car lot. So we pulled up into the car lot, and the guy that was driving, who had never driven it before, when he got out, you remember the siren button used to be like a dimmer switch on the floor? Well, he stepped on it and blew the siren. Of course, everybody takes off running, acting a fool. Well, I saw a guy in the little office that I knew, and I started walking back there. God, I got back, and there's a fire department truck in the alley I go inside and they got a dice game going, and there's people holding hundreds of dollars. And I went back and I said, "Get on the squad, we're leaving." So we leave. On the way back, we look up and see this smoke.
Nice.
We pull up on a 2-story brick apartment, black smoke pouring out the top of it. We have no water. We have nothing. So we suit up, 6 of us upstairs, and as we're going in, go up the stairs, I said, "Okay, you two drop down and you search the living room." We passed the kitchen. I said, "Y'all drop off and do the kitchen." And then 2 of us went back going towards the bedroom. Well, we ran into the guy laying on the floor. So we pick him up, and he was a big man. We pick him up, get him downstairs, and about the time we get on the front porch, everybody else is showing up.
Nice.
Well, the battalion chief could not believe that we did that. And so he told me, he said, "I want to put y'all in for the Medal of Valor." And I said, "Don't do that, please." I said, "Right now, everybody is on us about being gingerbread boys and, this squad and this idea that we don't have to pick up hose and all that." I said,
Man, that
"Please
sounds
don't
familiar.
do that." And he said, "Well, I'll think about it." So we got back to the station. I was over. So the next shift, we're out doing a pre-fire plan on a high-rise building. And they come on the radio and they say, "Squad 1, meet 806 at Central." 806 was the Area 1 deputy. So we go down there and I saw him down on the elevator and I said, "Chief, do you know what's going on?" And he said, "I have no clue." And I said, "I do." He said, "They're going to give us a medal." He said, "Really?" And I said, "Yep." So we ride up, get off. Chief Operations is standing waiting for me to get off the elevator. He said, "I don't want any of your bullshit. I've got all the facts. Get in my office." I turned around to Chief Allen. I said, "We ain't getting a medal." I mean, we're not getting a medal. What had happened is the Dallas police, were coming across the street to raid the dice game when we pulled up and blew the siren, and they reported to the fire department that we warned everybody. So, yeah, that was of all the fires we had, that
Good timing.
Good timing.
that
Good
was
timing.
terrible. Yeah,
Should have got
yeah.
a medal for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have got a medal for the essay I had to write to explain it.
Yeah.
So, Coobs, that's been going on since 1970. 1970.
I don't feel
Same
bad
story.
now.
Same
These
story.
squads, you don't pick up hose, blah, blah, blah.
Prima Donna. I like the gingerbread. Gingerbread.
I never
song.
heard that.
Yeah, well,
Gingerbread.
we finally started hanging around and help them overhaul and help them pick. We'd clear, but we'd stay around and help them.
Clear. We're 10 8 available, but we'll give you a hint.
That's right. That's right. We didn't use 10 codes in Dallas. We just said clear.
Yeah.
We weren't smart enough to remember 10 codes.
So you had one guy wait in the Suburban to listen to the radio, and the other
No,
guy
we had a walkie-talkie. I had a walkie-talkie.
all right, there you go.
So if they gave us something, I'd get it off the wall, which they usually did.
Yeah.
Usually
Chief,
we didn't have to stay very long anyway.
I got a good question for you. Did you, the fact that you're a mechanic, actually ever fix a rig?
No.
It's good union, man.
We had
Just
a maintenance chief. If you'd have touched one of his engines, I
Pissed
think
off?
he'd have cut your hands off.
Nice.
See?
He was a guy that he was in love with Waukesha. I have not heard of that since I left the fire department, but he loved 6-cylinder Waukesha engines. The pistons looked like a 2-gallon bucket, and you didn't touch his engines. No. No,
Why did they give the squads tools at least, hand tools?
I'm sorry?
Why did they give the squad at least hand tools in the Suburban? Nothing?
Well, when we put the squads in service in Wichita Falls, we totally changed the apparatus.
Right.
It now has a pump, it has hose, it has hand tools. We put that stuff on there where they could actually do something.
Right.
Now, it's not a first-line engine company, but you can do some first aid stuff anyway until somebody else arrives, which was that I learned that lesson from Squad 1.
Right.
Eventually they put, I think, 7 squads in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah. Then they took them all out. For
Yeah.
some reason, they did away with all of them. There was a lot of changes as the economy changed in Dallas.
Right.
You remember anybody in the squad over there? Somebody that stuck out?
Yeah, most of them are dead.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, I went to rookie school, Sparky Smith, and he didn't get the name Sparky from being a fireman. His real name was Luther Jefferson Smith Jr. He died, and guy that was one of the best firefighters I've ever been around. I know he died. I got a friend named Bobby Yarberry, and he's still here. Got the driver. I've lost total contact with him, but most of them that we fought fire with together, most of them are gone, and most of them from cancer. It was such a joy to ride with 5 guys who were that good of firefighters. I'm talking about top notch, some of the best I've ever seen, and I've seen some really good ones, especially in Wichita Falls. Some of those guys up there, I had to slow them down.
Yeah.
But it was a great 2 years. I enjoyed being a lieutenant.
And then you got promoted again. He's on the fast track.
Yeah, I made captain, and I started not even to take the test, but I did, and I made captain, and they sent me to 33s, and I worked there for a couple of years, and Battalion 6 ran out of Station 14, and they wanted me over there to ride the chief's car when the chief was off. So I went over there, and I worked over there until I made chief. I tell you a little story about being a captain. Do y'all have things in New York called assist invalid runs?
Yeah. Well, you just got to lift the patient.
Yeah. You get some old man rolls out of bed, and his
Yeah.
wife can't get him back. Okay.
Yep.
Or you
And
get
that's not-
the obese person who they can't get out of the bathtub, something like that.
Yeah. There you go. You were at the one I'm telling you about. This started out a couple years before that. They had a fire and a house exploded. Come to find out, this woman's husband tried to blow the house up with her in it. Oh. And when they got her out, she was a mess. A big woman. She was well over 6 foot tall, and probably she went over 200 at the time. She's a pretty good sized woman, but one of her arms obviously was blown off. I mean, she looked terrible.
Wow.
Anyway, we're a couple years later. I'm the captain at Station 14, and they give us an assist invalid. So we go down. Sure enough, an old lady comes to the door. Yes, ma'am. Can we help you? My daughter-in-laws can't get out of the bathtub. And I'm thinking, what? And I said, okay. So the 4 of us go in, and here is this woman. This is the same woman. And she is now up to over 600 pounds.
Holy moly.
She got in the bathtub and she pulled the plug, and all the water ran out and created a suction, and she couldn't get up. So, the first thing I thought was, I got to have some more help. So I called for another engine. So we get another engine down there. And we decided the game plan was that we were going to, one towel would not go around it. We had to tie towels together, and the idea was that we were going to do a sling under her arms and do a sling under her legs. Well, the first thing is this arm here just went so this one was flopping around,
right?
And she had gigantic boobs.
I was going to say, I always go for the boobs, Chief.
So now you got to hold them up to get the towel under.
You got to get one guy to hold each boob. Then you got
to. We finally get her all cinched up, and I got back behind her. There was a counter right there at the head of the tub.
Oh, don't get.
I said, okay,
close behind her.
I'm going to put my hands and feet on her, and on 3, I'll push. And y'all pull her up. Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, and they pulled, and she raised up, and I went right straight down.
Oh, man down.
I'm laying there. I'm looking up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, if they drop her, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I will
He's
die
up and
right
down.
next
Chief,
to you.
Chief, was your head between two pillows?
Yeah, yeah. Of all the close calls I've had, that was the closest one I've ever had. Yeah, it was never-ending fun.
Wow.
You know what they do now, Chief? They have like,
The felt
believe it or
blanket.
not, it's like a cargo net now that you could slide under there, and it has like, you could hook up carabiners and stuff like that to
Yeah.
at least, because like you said, there's no way to grab everything's like jelly.
We made a mechanical advantage one time. We couldn't get this guy out of the tub. He was so big. He was, like he said, that suction that's created, you can't get him up.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, of course, she's a college at Texas Aggie graduate. She said, "Well, Dad, why didn't you just fill the bathtub with water?" And I said, "Why don't you shut up?"
Outside the box, Chief. You got to think.
Yeah,
Gotta
that's
think
right.
outside the
That's
box.
right.
That's the name of the game, right? Little oil.
She got a little buoyancy, maybe. I don't know.
Some olive oil in there. That's a great story.
Yeah, that was. Well, I had good times. I took test for battalion section chief after that, and I made. It sent me into training. I spent 5 years in training. That was a good learning experience.
Wow, is that you right there, kid?
That's me when I got promoted.
Look at that head of hair, Kubi, huh?
Mackerel.
That was when I was promoted to lieutenant, I think.
This is battalion chief.
No, that's battalion chief. Yeah, and got sent to training. Spent 5 years there. Had really, really good times. Everybody needs to work staff. Everybody needs to learn what's more. There's more than just a fire station.
A lot of people talk about that, Chief, on the show.
Yeah. I had some really good experiences. I got to. We developed an officer improvement program, and I got to go to FDIC in Memphis and teach that program. And by the way, have you ever been to the Peabody Hotel in Memphis?
No.
You ever heard of it?
Nope.
This is an old hotel they had just renovated, and it's called the March of the Peabody Ducks. They've got these ducks that live up in a penthouse, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, they play all this royal music. They roll out this red carpet from the elevator to the fountain in the middle. And this guy comes out in a top hat and a tux. And he's got a cane, and he's got these little ducks waddling behind him. And he gets and he taps his cane on the side of the fountain, and all the ducks get in, and they swim all day. Well, at 5 o'clock, he comes back down the elevator, walks over, taps his cane, and all the ducks come back out and follow him to the elevator. It's the damnest thing I've ever seen. But you ever get a chance, go to the Peabody Hotel in Memphis. Watch the March of the Peabody Ducks. Yeah.
What's the popsicle story?
Your son-in-law is asking.
What's what?
Your son-in-law is asking about the popsicle story.
Oh. Okay. This is when I was lieutenant on the squad. We had a guy, bless his heart, he's still alive, Bobby Galloway. Bobby Galloway is one of the craziest people I've ever been with in my life. And he always wanted to drive. Lou, let me drive. Lou, let me drive. I said, no, you don't know your district. You study your district, I'll let you drive. Oh, come on, let me drive. I said, no. So one day we were out inspecting, and we stopped at Tiger Leo's. That was our local place to go get a soda pop.
Mm-hmm.
We got it, and Bobby said, let me drive back to the station. We weren't but about 8 or 10 blocks from the station. Nothing can happen there.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. So I said, okay, you can drive back to the station.
Oh, good.
We didn't go a block, and they gave attention squad 1, got a 1-alarm fire, and gave it to us. It was on Main Street, downtown Dallas. And I said, Bobby, how are you going to run it? He said, I'm going to run Gaston to Hall to Main, turn right. And I said, you got it. That's exactly where to go. We're running down Hall Street, code 3, and this girl is driving a car coming the other direction towards us, and she's making a left-hand turn, and she puts her arm out with a popsicle in it. And Bobby said, I can't pass this up. And he snatched that popsicle out of the fence while we're running code 3.
Multi-talented, bro.
Yeah.
And you didn't want
Yeah.
him to drive.
Come on.
Come on.
He never
You kidding
drove
me?
again either. That was his last time driving.
Isn't that amazing? The timing, like,
Yeah.
Oh, I
you
know
figure
it.
you got eight blocks, and you say, "All right." The one time you say, "All right, go ahead," and now you got to run to it.
Yeah.
Did he get to the job?
Oh, yeah, we got to it. It was really
All right.
nothing. There was not much to it.
Well, you got a
I wish
popsicle out of it.
we'd have stayed there.
That's a good story too, man.
Yeah. Yeah, after I made battalion chief, I went to 7 district out in North Dallas. I wasn't really crazy about that. I had some good firemen, but I'd worked most of my career downtown and in the ghetto part of town. And when you have a fire there, that's all those people got.
Mhm.
You need to take care of them. We would leave houses cleaner than they found them before the fire. Out in North Dallas, you got the people telling you pull your boots off so I don't get my carpet dirty. I mean, it was just a totally different world. And so I decided that I wanted to go back downtown, and sure enough, I got Battalion 1 on the C shift, which is where I had worked almost all of my career. So I got to go back down there, and it was great going back home. You ever watch a Cowboys game?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dallas Cowboys? You ever see that building that's got the green lights down the side of it? It's the one they always show when they show downtown Dallas. It's a 72-story building. Station 18, where Battalion 1 ran out of, when you came out of the station and turned left, about 4 blocks away, you're looking right straight at that building. Well, this is on a Saturday afternoon. Was watching a football game, and they gave us a run at that building. And at that time, they probably had glass walls up about 15 or 20 floors. Superstructure probably up to maybe 40, and very little above that. Yeah, that's it. So we pull out, and you cannot see the top of the building for black smoke. I mean, it looks like everything's on fire. Well, Dallas procedures, if smoke and fire showing from a high rise, is an automatic second. So I put a second on it. We're driving down there, and I'm thinking, I don't even know if I got a standpipe system up there yet. So I put a third on it. We get down there, I think, I don't even know if we got elevators. So I put a fourth on it. Well, we get there, and they don't have any elevators, but they got this construction elevator. The guy driving the construction elevator, I know, just came from the Indianapolis 500. He drove that thing 100 miles an hour up the side of that building.
Top floor.
And I told him, I said, stop us the floor below the fire. And he did. And we get out, and all we got is me, an engine company, a truck company. That's all we could get in the elevator. So I sent him down to get some more people. When we go in, get on the fire floor, there's 30 or 40 guys working up there. Nothing going on. I said, where's the fire? And they said, well, it started in trash over there and caught those 2 porta potties on fire and burned them down to the water line. Well, those things are made out of fiberglass. And I thought, oh my God, I've got a 4-alarm fire on 2 shit houses.
Uh-oh.
I got a lot of people coming.
Yeah. So I look down the building, and I can't see nothing but red lights for blocks.
Oh my God.
So anyway, we tap it out, and of course the AT&T system works fine. I started getting calls from everywhere about, what are you doing putting a 4-alarm fire on
Take
2
it easy there,
outhouses?
Chief Shaky Shelley. Take it easy, would you?
Yeah,
Getting nervous.
The next day, I was lucky. I'd catch a plane to fly to Emmitsburg. I was going to the National Fire Academy. So we go up there, and I'm taking a class of 35 guys in the class, and from all over the United States. Well, the fire chief from San Francisco is sitting next to me, and they want us to introduce ourselves and where we're from. So I told them I was from Dallas, Texas, Battalion 1, and this guy says, oh, you had that big fire yesterday. And I'm thinking, I don't remember us having hardly anything yesterday. And I said, where was it? And he said, oh, that big high-rise fire you had downtown. And I said, I'm going to tell you what, that was one of the toughest fires, but we got away with minimal damage. Yeah, that was just.
Word
I had a
travels
few.
fast.
I had a
It
few of those.
made the San Francisco newspaper.
I had a few
See
of those
that?
where it looks really. I had a
Yeah.
McDonald's. That same thing, Chief. We were coming down the street, maybe 5 blocks away. It was a McDonald's, which never burns. The top of McDonald's was blowing black smoke, like chugging, like
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm like, oh my God. So I give an urgent 1075, which
What?
I
Never
stopped
give the
doing.
urgent.
I never get, dude, if you saw this,
Yeah.
I go into McDonald's. There, like you just said, the people were all up there working. There were people ordering and sitting down eating burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
where the hell's the fire? What the hell's going on? I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop poking holes in the ceiling. Turned out it was like one of those big air conditioning, whatever they had on there. It was like,
Yeah.
and then of course, like you said, I didn't even get back to quarters. The phone was ringing.
Yeah.
Lou, that was an urgent, like urgent. 332 was calling me. 120 was calling me. Like, oh, Shaky Shelly over there.
I see how it's going here.
Urgent. Yeah.
They'll remind you.
That reminds you.
Yeah.
Build
Yeah,
1,000
of course,
bridges.
If they do it, they don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Anyway, after that, and I don't know why, in Dallas, you could only promote by civil service to battalion chief. After that, deputy chief and assistant chief were appointed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got appointed as deputy, and they told me.
Still got the head.
Yeah. See, I had hair then.
Who's that guy that keeps shaking your hand over there?
That is Chief Dodd Miller. He was the fire chief in Dallas for about 25 years.
Wow.
Anyway, they told me that they were going to create this whole new division, and eventually they wanted me to start running it. But in the meantime, I got sent out as 807, which is a deputy chief in charge of half the city. At that time there was 11 battalions in Dallas. 806 had 5 of them. 807 had 6 of them. And we didn't answer but up second alarm fires. So anyway, I did that for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. And then they called me downtown and said, here's the new deal. We're creating a new division called Special Emergency Operations. And we want you to run it. And it is hazmat, and Dallas did not have a hazmat team then. It was to develop a hazmat team, scuba divers, high angle rescue, confined space rescue,
Wow, everything.
helicopter emergency lifesaver plan, and then the biggie EMS. So that's where I was in that position when I retired from Dallas. And that was a very, very, very busy position. Yeah, that was I got that from the University of Texas Health Science Center. They presented me that when I retired from the Dallas Fire Department. Made me an honorary paramedic.
So, Chief, they had a rescue at that point, didn't they? The Dallas, or no?
We had rescues, but not ambulances. The rescues were only for major accidents, KBN, something like that. But no, as far as what Dallas, the funeral homes ran the ambulances in station wagons.
No shit.
And the fire department would only respond on like a CPR. That changed. That changed. They did that in 1971. And there's I forgot to add in here, and I guess it was right after I was still battalion chief. My wife, my now wife, she was the second female hired by the Dallas Fire Department.
No
And that's her
oh
right there.
shit!
Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, you've done good there. You married up there, fella. Good job.
Yeah.
Me too. So
Yeah, they did that with the engines, and they took one with the Dallas skyline behind it, and there's a couple really neat pictures.
that's certainly a Chiefs face. The other one, you had that serious look on the other one.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I said, "Don't be smiling with all this gear on."
That's a great pick
Hey,
too.
Chief, when you were doing the special ops stuff, were you talking to any other city? Like, did you talk to Ray Downey or any of those guys that were
Yes,
doing
I
the
talked
special
to
ops?
him, and I don't even the one that I spent the most time with is I cannot remember his name. His first name was Max, and Max was a hazmat guy out of Houston. Probably one of the most knowledgeable hazmat guys I've ever met. He was really knowledgeable. The
Yeah,
name
because
that you mentioned, I remember that name.
Chief
We
Downey,
talked to
yeah,
several people
yeah.
when we were developing the team.
It's just funny that you were there 83 to 87 and you were starting the hazmat. The FDNY started their hazmat in 1984 as well. So that I
Yeah,
know for sure.
that's when I guess it got to the point, and I think it was a push by either the IFC or NFPA when they started coming out with standards of training, and that started a lot of these different uh, hazmat teams actually doing hazmat, not just
Right.
running out
Right.
and sticking your finger in it and see what it smells like.
I still remember that video, right? In
I've
Kobe
actually
school,
seen that in person, bro.
guy,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen it in person. I'm not
the
yeah.
going to name the
the
company.
rail car's leaking like some
There was
at the bad
there
shit.
was a
Yeah,
drum in the middle of the street, and the guy went over. Motor oil. It's motor oil.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one way to do it.
Is that frowned upon?
Anyway, my next move was really unexpected. I was at a budget meeting in Dallas, and I got back to my office, and my secretary said some guy called from Chicago. He wants you to call him back. Well, for I don't know, maybe a month or 2 months, this guy, a TV reporter from Chicago, was doing some type of investigative report on Chicago EMS. And he was calling me, asking me what Dallas did on different issues. Because at that time, Dallas had probably one of the leading EMS in the nation. And so I assumed that's who he was. So I go in, I call him, and his name was Greg Kuhn. And I said, I need to speak to Greg. And I got him and told him who I was. And he starts asking me questions. And about 5 or 10 minutes into the call, I said, wait a minute. Why are you asking me all these personal questions? What is this about? And he said, oh, we got hired by the city of Wichita Falls to be a headhunter for a fire chief. And we've had your name given to us by several people. And I said, well, take it out. I said, I don't want to go to Wichita Falls. I've been through there going skiing, and I don't want to go to Wichita Falls. And he kept talking. I said, no, I don't want to do it. I'm happy where I am. And he said, well, do you have a resume? Could you just send me a resume? Because we need to have a certain amount. I said, sure. So I sent him a resume. I didn't hear from it. It was a couple of weeks. He called me back and said, by the way, you're in the top 10. I said, I can't be in the top 10. I've already pulled out. And he said, let me send you some stuff. So he sent me a bunch of material, and it looked like, from what they were saying, was right down my alley. It's exactly what I wanted. So they called me and said, you're in the top 5 and they want you to come interview. And I said, you can't do anything yet. I got to call my chief and let him know. I don't want him to learn it from the newspaper. So anyway, I went up there to interview, get up there to Wichita Falls, get in a hotel, pick up a newspaper, front page of the paper. There is 3 articles about the Wichita Falls Fire Department. They have sued the city for nepotism. They have sued the city for residency, and have sued the city for Fair Labor Standards Act. And I thought, here I go. This is going to be fun.
Right into the.
So I went ahead and interviewed, and I took the job. It looked like a real challenge. it was, I found out a lot of things, and a lot of things that Chief Fletcher had told me came into play. Here was a fire department. There were 155 people. We had a population of about 100,000. Here was a fire department that was loaded with really, really aggressive firefighters. They just lost a guy a couple years before I got there. And they were, when they fought fire, they would fight over the nozzle. There was no coordination. There was no command structure. It was everybody do what everybody wants to do. And I could see I got some problems here. So one of the things I found out real early was that they had such great pride in being firefighters and hardly any pride in being a Wichita Falls firefighter. So the first thing we did, just right shot out of the box, is we got to change our shoulder patch. And I think he's got a photo of what the old patch looked like. And what I did is I put out a memo and told anybody in the fire department that wants to have a shot at designing our new shoulder patch to go ahead and do it. Because the old one didn't even say what fire department you belong to. It just said fire department. And I said, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Generic.
And yeah. And the big deal was, and I'm not sure where this culture came from, but it was basically stay in the fire station and don't do anything. Yeah, there's a picture of that old one was red and white, said fire department. And that one on the right is the new patch.
I like it.
Nice.
Anyway.
Is that still the patch, Chief?
Yes, still the patch.
Nice.
So we decided that we need to do some things to get our people out in the public, where the public actually knows they got a fire department. So we started a lot of programs. One of them was our hydrant maintenance, and that was sort of an amazing deal. There was 2,000 fire hydrants in Wichita Falls. By the time that we had gone to every hydrant and tested it, we found that well over 200 of them couldn't even get water out of. Nobody used them but us, and nobody tested them. So we started a hydrant maintenance program where we would test all the hydrants every year in the city, and we'd set out one of these little blue markers, like a reflector in the middle of the street, and glue it down. I can't tell you how many compliments I got in my office, people calling, loving that little blue reflector, showing where their fire hydrant was. And that was just a little deal, but it started getting people to realize they've got a fire department. We had a hazmat team, but it really needed some work. So we started on it, and one of the things I found out is Shepherd Air Force Base, which is a big Air Force base, it had a hazmat team. Well, our team didn't talk to their team. They didn't even know each other. So I decided that we was going to get with Shepherd, and we started doing training together. We started a mutual aid response. We started working with them on command structure, which really came in handy a little bit later. And then we got our hazmat going, and everything was going good. And I got a friend that was a German pilot that worked there, and he asked me if I'd like to fly in a T-36. And I said, you bet. So he went out, and they got me in a T-36 jet. Now, this is a jet that's got two seats sitting on top of two jet engines with two little stubby wings, and it's supersonic. We couldn't fly over Mach 0.9. And that's a thing that they gave me for the Germany and American flag. And that's me and the pilot that took me up. But we get up in the air, and he says, you want to fly it? And I said, well, hell no, I don't want to fly it. I don't know how to fly an airplane. And he said, it's easy. Just get that stick And he said, let me show you. He said, see the little wings on your dash there? And I said, yeah. He said, watch it. Well, he flips the airplane and he rolled it so fast I couldn't hardly see it. And he said, you want to try it? And I said, sure, I'll try it. How do I do it? And he said, push it over real hard to the right and then pull it back to the middle. I said, I got that. I pulled it, pushed it over, and I pulled it back. And I looked up and I'm looking at the ground. We're flying upside down at 0.9 Mach. And he said, you might want to ease off of it just a little. So we rode for an hour in that airplane. We did things rows. He blacked me out. He did 3 Gs.
You don't get
I was
sick.
going to ask you, you didn't get sick or black out?
Yes, I blacked out. He said he could take 9. I blacked out on 3.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wow.
I got to do it, which was, it was supposed to be a familiarization ride. It came in handy. One of the other things that we did in Wichita Falls is we started the first responder program. And that was a major change for the city. In the past, everything was done by private company. We didn't do anything. Ambulance may pass 3 fire stations going to a heart attack.
Yeah, don't make them.
So we got that. We got the first responder program put in. Very, very successful.
Did you meet any resistance with that, with the brothers?
Unbelievable resistance. City management, their response was, you're going to have firemen out playing doctor and someone's going to die in a fire. And that first responder program became one of the most popular programs in Wichita Falls.
I used to say it all the time. We probably save more lives running on. I mean, guys don't like to go to them, but no doubt about it, you save more lives than you do going to fires.
Yeah. That where that little deal came in handy is we had a T-36 trainer with an instructor and a student, and both engines went out. And they had to bail out of the airplane. And when they did, it came down and crashed into an apartment complex.
Oh, shit.
It injured 45 and killed 2. When Shepherd Air Force Base responded, we had practiced so much with them that we set up a unified command system with Shepherd. And it was decided for them to take the airplane because of all the explosive stuff on the plane, and we would take care of the rescue of all the people in the building. And it worked out seamlessly. And when I retired, they gave me a part of that airplane as a retirement, and that's part of that airplane that crashed. But that was that makes a true believer out of you on the incident command system and how it works and what we did before we had it. One of my best learning experiences on incident command was the Murrah Federal Building. When it blew up in Oklahoma City, I've got a good friend that was a fire chief up there that called me and said, can you get 50 firefighters to come up here? Well, I'm sending people to a different state. We don't have mutual aid with them. I don't have a contract. I don't know if workers' comp would cover them. So I said, let me call you back. So I checked. And when I called him back, he said, we're holding off on mutual aid outside the state right now. Could you come up here? So I went up. Excuse me. So I went up and I spent a couple of days up there and watching their incident command system, the way they worked, the things that they did, especially their procurement, and they operated that very, very well. Their public information officer was great. It could have been improved, and it was. They did change things, but that was a really, really good learning experience on how incident management is supposed to work. I got a gift of that drawing right there. That's an actual drawing. And somebody had took a photo. And the story behind this photo is they had worked up there for several days, the USAR teams. And the last live person that they got out was that evening. Everybody else was dead. And these were the dogs and the rescue workers from the USAR team. And it was so bad the dogs got depressed and they wouldn't go to work. So they had a vet check the dogs out to see if there was something wrong with them. And he said, no, they're just depressed. So they started hiding firemen in the rubble. And the dogs would find them and they'd start wagging their tails and they started working again. And it was just amazing that a dog can get as despondent as a person can. And, that was unbelievable.
That's the first time I heard that. I never heard that before.
Yeah. They down at A&M, they've got a big place where they do that kind of training. What else are we talking about? Oh, okay. The next deal, I had been going to Texas A&M as a guest instructor for summer school since 1977. To describe, let me tell you a little bit about the structure. Texas A&M, the system itself, there are several parts of it. There's the big school in College Station. There's a school in Commerce, Texas. They've got several things. And there's the A in Texas A&M is for agriculture. And they have an agricultural extension service. The M is for mechanical. And they've got that too, and that's called TEAX, Texas Engineering Extension Service. And TEAX is made up of several different things, but the biggest part of it is the Emergency Services Training Institute.
I've been there.
You've been down at A&M?
Incredible, yeah.
It is supposed to be reportedly the largest fire training field in the world.
It's incredible.
When you were down there, did they have Disaster City back in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. They've derailed passenger railroad train, Amtrak. Yeah. Anyway, I got a call from A&M, and they asked me when I was going to retire from Wichita Falls. I said, I don't know, a couple years. And they said, would you be interested in being an instructor? And I said, sure. The next day they called me back and said, we got an opening. Can you come now? So
did they give you the number?
Nice to be loved, right?
Yeah, well, it's nice to be loved, but it's nice to get a good number too. You know
I didn't want to say that. He didn't want it at first, and then he heard the number, Roof. And he's like,
I had been involved with the state government before. Ann Richards, a Democrat, appointed me to the Texas Commission on Fire Protection. And then George Bush came in, a Republican. He not only reappointed me, he reappointed me as a presiding officer. So I was presiding officer of the Texas Commission on Fire Protection, really, really involved with I-Chiefs. I was, us presenting the helmet to George Bush. And I was on several task forces for IAFC and also for NFPA. So I'd seen a lot of how state government works, and I decided to do it anyway. So I went to work for them, and what we did, we conducted area schools all over the state, and these were mostly small volunteer fire departments. And we would teach them NFA classes, do live fire training, and a lot of training that they could use in the State Firemen's and Fire Marshal Association to get a certification. I did that, and the other thing that most of this job was teaching NFA classes. and I was the only employee that had any experience in high-rise firefighting. So I got to teach high-rise command and control to everybody. When they had that class come up, I would go teach it. I'm not sure how they heard about it, but Santiago, Chile called and wanted me to come down there and teach a class in high-rise operations for Santiago. Well, I didn't know anything about Santiago. That's a big city. That is a huge city. So I go down there, and this is a fire station where I was at Station 18. That is such a unique department. They have got, and I think, if I remember correctly, in a city of, and Mike may know this, it's a city of 7-8 million people.
Got like 8 firemen.
They had 20 fire stations.
Oh my God.
They were all independent. They're all volunteers,
Oh
and you got to pay to be a volunteer. They're mostly professors, doctors, lawyers. Their fire stations are monuments. They all got a swimming pool. They all got barbecue pits, and they all got the best bar you'd ever see in your life.
Like the Bizarro.
Italy's the same way. They got bars in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's not just a bar. It's a bar
drinking.
that you really like to be in.
He ain't lying.
This ain't a live.
When Teeks told me they wanted me to come down there, I said, well, hell, I can't go down. I can't speak Spanish. They said, well, we're going ahead and send Rosendo down there with you. So I said, okay, Rosendo Garcia, he's passed now. So me and him fly down to Santiago, and this guy meets us at the airport, him and his wife, and they're both lawyers. They both speak English. And we're riding back, and he starts talking Spanish. Rosendo starts talking Spanish, and the guy says, what? And he said something else, and he said, what? And so what we found out was Rosendo didn't speak their language. He spoke Tex-Mex. Those people down there, I think they spoke Portuguese. So he came all the way down there and was absolutely no help at all.
Well, he knew about the pools and the bar. That's why he wanted to go.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know about it, but he loved it.
Yeah, he loved it.
They wanted to do high-rise firefighting, but they wouldn't work for each other. They wouldn't work with the company. I told him, you can't do this. You can't have a high-rise. If you've got a working fire over the 4th floor, you're talking about needing at least 40 people to get all the equipment upstairs and to start work. You need that many people. They had an engine, and they wouldn't talk to the other engine. But anyway, it was interesting, very interesting.
Louis, how many guys do we see from Chile when we go out to?
A lot of guys.
Guys from Chile.
Well, they
forgot about that. They
sent a lot of guys to A&M. They had a school there, was Spanish-speaking school, and they came from all over the world. But I met a lot of guys from Chile there.
Chief, what's the name of the academy or whatever in Georgia? That's another big one that they have.
I don't know.
Let me think. Is it the Guardian? Is it Guardian? It might be Guardian. It's very similar to that. It's a little smaller, but very similar. Like they have like the disaster site with the, we did the same exact thing where they had the overturned, the houses are blown up, the overturned rail. They have
make the different collapses, pancake, and
they actually have the doctors, and for EMS they have like amputees. They have actually like live. Not live.
Really?
They have cadavers there. They have the dogs to find stuff. It's a big operation logistically, like to do all that stuff too.
Well, Texas Task Force runs out of College Station. It's part of TEACS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After that, I actually got to go to the Grand Caymans.
I was going to say you went fishing,
and. Well, we did go out and swim with stingrays, but it was, it's also very interesting. They have there's 3 islands on the Grand Caymans. One island is the main one. They have a fire station at the airport, and then one at the end of the island. And there's 4 people on each engine. So they got 8 firemen. The other islands have got one fire station with 4 people. So if you want mutual aid, it's going to have to be an octopus or a shark because there's nothing else that can get to them.
Start swimming.
And
They respond in flip flops.
Yeah, I was in about the 3rd day of the class, and their training officer says the chief wants to talk to you. We went in there and they've talked about how the chiefs have all these medallions and everything all over him. He had them. That guy had he had a medal for everything in the world. And he asked me to sit down. He said, "How much they pay you at A&M?" And I said, "Why do you want to know that?" And he said, "I want to hire you as my training officer." And he said, "Whatever they pay you, I'll pay you." And I said, "Well, yeah, I need to think about that." Well, my wife had gone with me. I got home and I told her, and I said, "I've decided not to do it." And I thought she was going to choke me to death. You're not going to go to the Grand Caymans?
Stay on the beach all day?
Yeah. So I did that until about 2010. And in 2000, and I started as an adjunct because as a full-time instructor, you're gone all the time. I mean, I've been as far as El Paso and as far east as Texarkana and as far down south as Beaumont. I mean, up in the Texas Panhandle. And it was really, really interesting. It was a great job, but I needed to slow down a little bit. So that's when I started becoming an adjunct. And I did that till I retired. But there is one funny story that I'd like to tell you about when I was an instructor. I was teaching in a class in a city called Wheeler. It's up in the Texas Panhandle, not very far from Oklahoma. This was, I don't know, 07, 08. There was one internet connection in the whole town, and that was at the fire station. And so I asked the guy, this is in the winter. I was teaching at night, and I said, "What is there to do in the daytime up here?" And he said, "Well, are you interested in history?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You need to go to Mobeedy." And he said, "Now don't go to New Mobeedy, you got to go to Old Mobeedy." And I said, "Well, what is that?" And so he tells me there's a museum. So I drive over there, get to this big 2-story brick building, go in. This woman meets me, and she was really interesting. And she's telling me about they got a brand for every ranch in Texas, and telling me the story that town and used to be Sweetwater, and it was one of the largest towns in the Texas Panhandle. That's where all the buffalo hunters brought their hides, and she just went on and on and on. And she said, "Then you know how it got its name?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't." She said, "Well, they petitioned the government for a post office because they had so many people, and the government refused the post office because there was already a Sweetwater, Texas. So they had to come up with another name. So they went to the Indians. Now, this is the Indians that the soldiers at that fort had killed their ancestors.
Right.
So they go to
You're
the
asking them for
Indians.
help.
Yeah, and they say, "What is the
Sorry about
Indian
that.
word for Sweetwater?" And he said, "Mobeedy." So they named their town Mobeedy. Well, several years later, this Indian comes through town and he says, "Why did you name this town Mobeedy?" And they said, "Well, it means Sweetwater." And he said, "No, it doesn't. It means buffalo shit." So the Indians got him.
Nice.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting.
I like
But
it.
anyway, I decided in
Moby
2014 that I'd had 50 years.
going fishing.
That's it.
I had
50.
50 years that I would not trade for anything. I had more fun. I've had more injuries. I've had more close calls. But that's what makes your adrenaline go. I sort of don't like where I am right now because it's a part of what happened to me in my younger days. And if I'd say anything to anybody that's listening to this, that's in the fire service, get checked. Get checked regularly. I am so lucky. I got a heart condition too. They were getting ready to do a procedure on my heart. And when they did, they found the tumors in my lungs. Well, by the time that I got that, now I got 5 on my liver, 1 in my esophagus, 1 in my brain. So if I say something stupid, it's because I got brain damage. I can't help it. I mean, but it's just it's something that every firefighter needs to be aware of, especially if you went to work back before they really started the protective gear. Uh, uh, we protect our guys. Matter of fact, sometimes I think we protect them too much. We put them into places I've never been because they've got this protective gear, they've got hoods, they're totally covered, and then there's one bobble, somebody bumps your mask and you're burned. But they go places that I've never been before, and sometimes I think we're maybe giving them way too much. Either that, or we need to have better command where we don't let them go into places like that.
Right. So we talk about it all the time on the show, Chief. Early detection, right? So it's not just lip service, right? You're talking to a guy who's going through it now, right, Chief?
Well, yeah, look at what y'all got down there with all the people that breathed all that crap in at 9/11, and how many of them are. I don't know. I think I've heard that you have actually had more casualties from that than they did for the 300 plus that died on 9/11.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you know what
it
it
is
is?
more.
Yeah, the job offers these things now to guys, so take advantage of it. I was just telling Louis today, I went to the skin doctor and I had 8 things removed, and they're sending them out for some of them are precancerous. So we don't just we practice what we preach here. So get yourself checked out.
Yeah,
You want to be around for a while.
How old are you, Chief?
82. I'll be 83 in September.
Good, Louis. You'll sign for
bless.
that.
I'll sign the papers right now, kid.
So will I.
Until you get to 82, and then
81 and a half, and then we could renegotiate the contract. But
Mike, put the picture up of Station 5. This is my granddaughter. This is one of the 3 fire stations we built while I was there at Station 5, and
oh, your name's on there. Nice.
yeah, and then the other one is me sitting up in the seat of Engine 5, and I didn't get up there by myself. I can guarantee you that. And then the last one is we had a birthday party for our granddaughter, and that was at the birthday party.
So we're gonna beat this, right, Chief?
You what?
We're gonna beat this, right?
I have the oncologist had told me I had 2 or 3 months, and I went to another
Holy mackerel!
another doctor at Baylor in Dallas, and he said they got a new drug that's been out for 14 months, and they're going to start me on that July 28th, and he thinks that's got great possibilities. So keeping our fingers crossed.
Listen,
I'd like to be here a while longer.
You've done more than that. You've done scary stuff. You've crawled down hallways right before. So this ain't nothing. You got this, man. I firmly believe that. I believe it. We're gonna beat this. We're gonna have you on the show for your birthday. How about that?
Sounds great.
We'll have a birthday party for Ronnie James on the show.
I'm in. I've never passed up a party.
You know
No.
it. We have any shout outs tonight? Mike?
Although we want to do our old school tip of the day.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
do
gonna
the
do the
old
old
school
school tip of the
I
day.
was confused for a second. But wait a minute, we're forgetting the most important things, Tubes.
Chief, you got an old little nugget to pass along to the guys for an old school tip of the day?
Well,
Hold on, we got to set you up. Hold on.
Mm,
Ready,
yeah,
Mike? Got to
music.
bring it in the close up. Ready? Oh, we don't have the music. Damn.
You have to improvise.
Time for the old school tip of
the old
the day.
school. If I was going to give a young man advice going into the fire service right now, is that you're getting into probably the best career that you can ever get into. Enjoy the fellowship, enjoy the challenges of the job, and don't ever forget to be fair, be firm, and be consistent, and make sure you're humble. Know that you're not the sharpest knife in a drawer, and you need to be humble in the things you do.
Amen. Amen, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Well said.
Great career. Great. You know, we didn't have to do nothing, but I could take over
I
his man
know.
of garbage.
It's always
He did
the
the whole
Chiefs.
show
Listen,
himself.
it's always the Chiefs. It's
He
always
did the whole
Chiefs.
show himself. We want to give
Chief,
a special
Yeah.
thanks to your daughter who got you
I was
on
going to
today,
say
right?
your daughter, your grandson. There's a lot. You got a lot of family in the chat, Chief.
Good.
So you must be a good oak, then. That's what I always say all the time. The good oak
There you
always
go.
has a lot of acorns, a lot of trees. That
There you go.
you can
Well,
always
it's
tell a
been
good family.
enjoyable. I've enjoyed recalling the past on things that I haven't thought about in a long time, and it's been a pleasure for me to recall all those things.
Well,
That's
I'm
our
glad
pleasure.
we could do that for you, Chief. It was a great time. You had great stories. Some of the funniest stories I've ever heard, as a matter of fact. Loved it. Popsicle, we'll never forget the popsicle. What was the other one that was good?
Yeah,
The lift
Yeah.
assist.
The what?
The lift assist.
Oh, the lift assist.
Yeah.
Are those two pillows?
Well,
Oh,
in theory.
Mikey liked that one.
Mikey like that one. All right. Well, Gons will be back next week, correct?
I believe so, yes.
So
Yeah,
take
you
Mike
you
in
have a
right now.
real
Take him
producer.
all.
We'll
Who
be
we got
praying
next?
for you, Chief.
We will be praying for you, Chief. Thank you for coming on and sharing your career with us. Great
Stick
job.
around, Chief.
thank you for having me.
As
Yeah,
they
now
say,
stop.
as my favorite movie is, you've had a wonderful life.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yeah,
Keep
Yeah.
it going. And you know what? Now that you have the podcast, you can watch it all the time, not just Vinny
Sure.
Dunn. You can watch
I got it.
yourself. We had another Dallas guy. I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name, Mike?
No, not at the top of my head. It was a little while ago, though. Vaguely.
Yes.
And he got on around the same time as Chief James did, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
remember
no,
that
no,
show. I just
no.
don't remember.
No.
Who are we
I don't
thinking
know.
of?
Insulted him a little bit.
A little
No.
bit. All right. Anyway, I'll remember. We'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Again, Chief, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thank you for the Rev for putting us in contact with Chief Ronnie James. And we wish
Yes,
the
thank you,
best
Paul.
prayers and all good things for the Chief. All right, guys. We will see you next Thursday. We'll be back. Until then, stay low and go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you at the big one. Chief, take care of yourself.
Thank you very much.
Shout out to all my friends at the West Haven Fire Department, especially B Shift that's working the night. Stay safe, guys and girls. Shout out to Eric, Jake, Lieutenant Bruno, and Sarah, who's driving the engine tonight. And as always, be advised, folks. Be advised, folks. The tones are dropping. Good night. Take care.
Smooth. He's smooth.